as this is the second No Kings protest in our area. First one happening back in June, where we saw a similar situation where we saw a lot of people across different areas. And Jeb, I lean on Jeb sometimes because he just has a memory of an elephant. He just remembers so much. So I remember back in April, I was in Charleston. I was in Somerville, which is in Charleston area. There was a similar situation. There were other. I don't think there were named No Kings, but there were other protests earlier this year in different parts of the country, right?
Yeah,
okay.
There have been several throughout the year. I mean, even while Trump was going through the actual nomination and candidate process. But these No Kings have been, by Indivisible, the largest movement, if you will. I mean, there's over 50 cities, and then when you count towns and small communities, hundreds have been coming out. These have been some of the largest protests together that we've seen in quite frankly, the last few years.
No, it's and all within 10 months.
Right.
All within 10 months. That's how long President Trump, his second term, has been so far. Just looking, I know we're getting updates in like real time right now.
Yep.
So we see Bria Smith, who is actively talking to folks there on the ground. So we'll check in with her in a little bit. I think she got another interview for us coming up shortly. Walker Lawson talking to folks there in Waxhaw. So you see Bria there walking. Let's hang on this for a bit, because I think she's almost there to where the folks she's going to interview. So this is Uptown, where that march continues. That rally started at First Ward Park. Bria has been there all morning for the rally, as we heard from several speakers. And now she's talking to this young man right there. Let's take a listen to it.
Awesome. She's our caregiver. Alrighty, so I'll talk to you all, but really, if you want to, Mr. Charlie, if you want to talk a little bit about why you're here today. 93, that's a long time. You've seen a lot, happen. So, what is the importance of being here today?
I just felt like we had to show how we felt about all this. We watch television a lot at our age, and we just see all the terrible things that are happening to our country. And, at 93, I can't do much more than this. But I do have a helper, and she's really great. And my wife made the signs. But we do have 2 granddaughters, and I worry about that. What's the world going to be like for them? I don't have to worry about me so much at being 93.
Well, it's amazing to see you here. Obviously, you said that you're 93, you can't do much, but this is, for some, a lot. Describe to the people who maybe just didn't have the chance to come out today the importance of just showing up. I've spoken to young, middle age, all of it, and it's really important to hear what they have to say. But what do you have to say to people who really just didn't have the chance to make it, or maybe didn't think that showing up today would make a change?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
What do you
wanted to be counted?
What?
Yeah, so how would you describe to people who maybe just didn't have the chance to be here today, or even maybe felt like, it wouldn't make a change to be here? What do you have to say to them?
Oh, well, I'm healthy except for legs, and I can't march myself, but I can go in a wheelchair, and I'm just real happy to be here. We are really concerned about the President of the United States and all the things that he's doing. And he says he don't want to be a king, but he does.
Well, great to see you here today. We appreciate you coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to you to be able to get this all to happen?
Well, we were both educators.
Actually, the interview. You want to go back to this interview? Okay, let's go back to it.
Children how to think, and what democracy is all about, and we can't let it go down the drain.
Absolutely. And he said something that's really powerful there is that he can't walk, but he's still here. And what does that message send to people? What do you think?
He's a wonder. People really look up to the way he's keeping on. And we believe in this country, and we believe in democracy. He was a Korean War veteran, so we're here. What worries me is the people that don't know what's going on. We just want to make them notice.
Absolutely. And very lastly, that thing that you just said is that the people who don't know what's going on, what is it that you hope they take away from today, the message?
Well, maybe they'll see that we're not left-wing terrorists and that we care about the country and all ages. People need to see the government working the way it's supposed to work.
Absolutely. Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, so that was Bria Smith. Talking to folks, a 93-year-old gentleman there. He says, look, I can't march, but I can be out here. 93 years old there in Uptown. All right, so we want to go to Greensboro, West Wendover Avenue, there where our content partners, WFNY, covering No Kings 2 protests rally happening there. Folks lined up there. We have Lauren Tier. So, Lauren, what are you seeing? What are you hearing?
It's pretty big out here. The crowd continues to grow since we've been here since about 11. As you can see, there are people lining these sidewalks on both sides of West Wendover, which is a pretty major thoroughfare here in Greensboro. And again, these lines stretch hundreds of feet up and down the sidewalk. You can see people holding their signs, asking for cars to honk, and that's definitely what they're doing. You'll probably be able to hear it in the next few seconds. There's another car honking. A lot of these signs say honk for democracy, and it's clear that these drivers are definitely reading as they pass by. At this point, we have not seen any signs of violence. Everything has been entirely peaceful. Again, these people are just holding up their signs, they're waving their American flags, and they are asking for democracy, protesting the current Trump administration. Like I said, no signs of violence as of right now. Everyone has been entirely peaceful. I did hear some chanting going on earlier, but as of right now, you can see people dressed up, wearing shirts, wearing costumes, holding their signs, holding their flags. Again, nothing of the violent sort as of this time, and we can still see people parking their cars and walking up to join this peaceful protest at this point. And I am live in Greensboro, Lauren Tier with WCNC.
All right, Lauren, thank you for that report there in Greensboro. We want to go back out now to downtown Waxhaw, where our Walker Lawson is talking to a gentleman there at the rally. Let's take a listen in.
And the reality of note, we talk about the Constitution and why we got the Bill of Rights, and the whole No Kings things comes from the delegates to the Second Constitutional Convention rejected any concept of a king. There was even talk about once Washington was elected, they said, "What do we call you? Your Excellency, King George?" And he said no. And the basis for all that was they didn't want to exchange one form of tyranny, King George III, for another form. And unfortunately, 238 years later, we're worried. I don't like it. Nobody here likes it.
Obviously, we expect a large turnout in Uptown Charlotte in some of the major cities. We are here in a smaller suburban community. Are you shocked by the amount of people that have come out here to today to protest, to gather, to share their voice? Does it surprise you?
No, and it's getting louder and louder, and that's a good thing to hear. I talked to some people who came over from South Carolina, so it's not just Waxhaw. I don't know what's going on in Monroe, but hopefully these things will catch the ear of our legislators in Washington and get this past the danger zone, to borrow from a movie.
That's all I need. Great job. Thank you so much.
Do you know who?
All right, so that is a live look a live interview there our Walker Lawson has done with a gentleman there in downtown Waxhaw as that protest there continue. Actually, there's a live interview. I don't know if we want to go out to this in Nashville. Let's take a listen in.
What do you want from this? What we hope is we actually have a special election on December 2nd. It is the last congressional election in the whole country, and we have an opportunity to elect a leader who's going to stop Trump's agenda, and we need everybody to turn out and vote, but also, more importantly, to sign up to help us knock on doors to talk to voters from Clarksville to Nashville.
When you see all these people together here today,
it is hope, but it's also a sign of resolve. The reality is we know that Trump's agenda is not widely accepted or widely popular. You have minority rule in this state, in this country, and they don't represent the people.
what would you say to the community? Like the most important message that you can
get organized, join an organization, even if it's a neighborhood association. One of the ways that authoritarians take control is by isolating us. So we need you to get to know your neighbor. We need you to join Turk or Turk Votes or another organization in your city, because you cannot be alone in this moment, and you are not alone. They can visit our website, turkvotes.org, TIRRC votes.org, and sign up to volunteer, to donate, to get engaged.
Are you happy about this?
I'm very happy, yes. This is great. We need to be together.
Can I tell you I'm 90, and I wondered how.
All right, so that was a live look there, an interview there in Nashville, Tennessee, as similar situation. No Kings protests happening there in Nashville, Tennessee, not just Nashville, Tennessee, but across the country right now. See, we have several things happening. Let's take you out to Waxhaw. So Waxhaw right now, folks are still there. They've been out there for a few hours at this point. Got there a little early and have been out there on the sidewalks there in downtown Waxhaw. We've heard from several folks there. We actually heard from a woman who had a small copy of the Constitution, which and she's, like a lot of these interviews, folks have gotten emotional. This has been an emotional experience for folks. They have not just come by themselves. A lot of times folks have come with family members out here to these No Kings protests, not only across our community but across the country. So we have reporters in Uptown, Waxhaw. We have live looks in Nashville, Tennessee. What's on Router 4, Jeb? Okay, so we have something on one of our feeds. This is a live look of Uptown, that march, the ground level there. Bria Smith actually spoke with a man moments ago, 93 years old, in a wheelchair with his family. He says, "I can't march, but I can be out here in my wheelchair." And he was holding signs, and a lot of what we've seen, American flags and folks holding signs. Folks in costume, folks of all ages, different generations. Folks with their family members, folks with their dogs, as you see right there walking through Uptown in this shot right here. But again, that is a live look. Uptown Charlotte, Waxhaw, and we see Walker Lawson stepping in front of the camera. We also have a live shot in Greensboro, West Wendover Avenue. Let's go back out now to Walker. Walker, what can you tell us?
We just spoke with a former veteran that served our country, and it was really interesting to get to hear him say, this is what he served for these people to have the right to come out and protest. He said this is his first time he's been at a protest since the Vietnam War protests. So really just inspirational to see people from different years, different walks of lives, again, coming out here and just trying to show support. He said, when they created this country, King George, they didn't want that. This is what they wanted. They wanted a democracy for people, and he said that it has concerned him that we're going, and what he feels like is that direction again. So again, just seeing an array of people out here, cars driving by. That's the big thing here in downtown Waxhaw. I know Bria's been walking with people, but for us here, we've really seen not only all of the people lining the streets, but I feel as if every 2 to 3 cars have been blowing their horns as they're going through downtown Waxhaw. I know you guys have heard it in my microphone as I'm out here talking. So it's just really interesting to see the array of people again. We're getting close to noon when this is supposed to wrap up. We still have people chanting out here, and we still have more people that have been continuing to show up.
All right, so that's Walker Lawson live there in Waxhaw. He's been there all morning. Walker, thank you for your time. We'll check in with you in a little bit. So that is what's happening there in downtown Waxhaw, as the crowds are still there. Folks are still there protesting. Walker has talked to numerous people there in downtown Waxhaw, along with Bria Smith, who is there in Uptown. This is a live look at, you see right here on your screen, of that march that continues through Uptown. Look, you may be thinking, man, they've been marching forever. It's only a 1.1 mile march, but there's a lot of people to filter through Uptown.
Yeah, you're moving probably 6, 7, maybe even 8,000 people.
Yeah.
1.1 miles. It takes the average person about 20 minutes to get. I mean, they left about, I don't call it 40 minutes, maybe a little less.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people to move through. Bria's been moving through Uptown, talking to people from mother, daughter, to a woman who's from New York. Actually got emotional, really emotional. Both got emotional during their interviews. To a 93-year-old man who has a lot of life experience, decided to be a part of this rally. So again, that is a live look there, Uptown, as that march continues. No Kings 2 protests happening in Uptown and across the country. Also, Nashville is happening as well. They're talking, a crew down there, NBC affiliate there is talking to folks. Let's take a listen in.
Been taken away? How can I help the children in schools? How can I help the kids whose free breakfast and lunch have been taken away? How can I help all of the families who are on SNAP and WIC and all of that is going to be taken away? How can I stand around and wait? How can I stand around and do nothing when there are people suffering and in need from somebody?
It is the least fun part of the job.
Thank you.
So yes, continue to write checks.
I'm going to have to move.
Do not.
All right, so that is interview there in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go to downtown Waxhaw. Walker Lawson is talking to a woman there. Let's take a listen in.
Remember the foundations of what America was built on, which is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
You said to me just a moment ago, is this bigger than the last No Kings protest?
Yes, for Waxhaw, this is amazing. We're at least 400 plus, and we've done the head counting, so we're pretty proud of ourselves showing up in our small little town, showing up and representing everyone.
When you see everyone gathered out here, obviously we're in the heart of downtown. We have a lot of cars coming through. Does it surprise you, or how does it make you feel when you hear all of the horns that have been going on for people that might not just be standing out here, but showing their support, as you can hear behind us?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because for far too long, people in Union County have felt like their voice has not been heard. And by these sounds, it tells you that people are tired of being silenced. And really, the reality is Union County may look red on paper, but we're not a red county. And the people that are in charge of Union County, they should actually be listening to all of us because they represent everyone, no matter what letter is behind your name. And we have a really large unaffiliated voter stance here in Union County. It's one of our largest voting blocks. And so when we have organizations that ignore them or choose not to listen, they revolt, and this is what happens. And so we're out here, we are peacefully protesting. We are not causing trouble, we're not paid protesters. We're out here doing the work for people to understand that their rights matter to each and every one of us.
When you mentioned just a moment ago this protest is larger than the last one that you guys have had, what do you attribute that growth in attendees out here to?
Honestly, it's what's happening in Washington, D.C. between the government shutdown, between the fact that they're getting ready to steal, or maybe not steal, but they're getting ready to raise our Medicaid prices, our insurance prices for everyday citizens, including the older woman that's behind my shoulder with an oxygen tank, who's out here talking about Medicaid. Like her rates are going to skyrocket in about 2.5 weeks. Us as a family of 4, through my husband's insurance, ours is going to skyrocket. So insurance is really big, and I don't think regular Americans understand what that's going to mean for them until about 2 weeks' time when they have to start filing for their insurance. And I think that's when, in reality, the white Americans, the middle class, everyday people who feel like they're just getting on with their lives, that's when they're going to notice. So we're out here fighting for all Americans because each and every one of them matter.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, so that was Walker Lawson there. Walker Lawson is live there in downtown Waxhaw. Speaking with a woman, she said a woman with an oxygen tank there at the rally talking about healthcare. And this just kind of shows you, and it keys you into some of the issues that folks want their voices to be heard on and what they're dealing with as well. We want to go back out to Bria Smith, who's live in Uptown, who has been there marching with folks in Uptown, speaking with several people. Bria, catch us up. What are you up to right now?
Yeah, Nick, well, as you can hear, there's cheers. We've finally made it back to First Ward Park, a pretty long march there. And really, it was interesting along the way. I had the chance to see that people that were young, middle-aged, and old, and got the chance to speak to them, learn what they do and how they impact this community, not only here in Charlotte, but across the world. We met with a Korean War veteran and then a 14-year-old girl who's going to go back to school on Monday and share with her classmates what she learned here at this protest. So it was very instrumental, very important to really speak to those individuals who are a part of our community, but they're really just expressing their concerns with this No Kings. They're just, wanting to have not a dictatorship, but really emphasizing the importance of health care, Medicaid, and then also things like equality when it comes to immigration and the LGBTQI community. So just really hitting those main points that they want to get across, and hoping that after this protest, people will learn more, they'll be more educated, and be able to live in a civilized community. That's pretty much the overall message that I got from everyone that I spoke to today, Nick.
Bria, before I let you go, what's happening right now? I know you have stopped walking, obviously doing this live shot, but what are folks doing? Is the march wrapped up? Are folks still marching?
Yeah, I think there might be, if I'll just turn here, I think we might have made it to our end here, but if you take a look over here, people are still gathered with their signs. I think people are just kind of speaking and getting together, but they're still showing their signs, Nick. Definitely not going anywhere. They still want their message to be heard. I think the march portion, however, of this protest today is over, and they might just linger around here for a while, but we do have CMPD. There is law enforcement. They are still standing by as protesters are still kind of hanging out here around and at First Ward Park, Nick.
All right, Bria Smith there in Uptown. That march looks like it's seemingly wrapped up. Bria, you stay safe out there. All right, so again, as you saw, there's so many people there in Uptown Charlotte and with their families in costumes, with American flags, with signs, with shirts, all for this No Kings 2 protest, the second iteration of it. The first one happening back in June, where we saw so many people, more expected today as we have rallies in Tennessee and Massachusetts. I think I saw Chicago, Washington, D.C. we showed you, downtown Buffalo, New York. Just what I saw, and there were many more happening, 2,500 marches happening today. Waxhaw, downtown Waxhaw. Sticking in Union County, Monroe also. But this is a live look at downtown Waxhaw. Folks have been there for hours with American flags, as I just mentioned, encouraging folks to honk for democracy. So folks there, and Walker mentioned this earlier, a lot of people there. And just keep in mind, if you are planning to go through downtown Waxhaw, at one point Walker mentioned that traffic was at a standstill. So I can imagine on a typical Saturday, it's pretty busy. Folks are out and about in downtown Waxhaw. And on a day like today where there are rallies happening, it could be pretty busy. It looks like we have a live interview. Let's go to this interview in Greensboro. This is West Wendover. Let's take a listen in. No Kings protest there in Greensboro.
Professing love for the United States as a democracy.
And why was it important for you to be here?
This is the only country that I've got to defend. So I want to make sure that everyone understands I'm against most of the policies of Trump.
And how long have you been out here?
An hour.
An hour. What would you say about this crowd of people?
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Have you been to other protests like this in Greensboro?
No, no.
Have you ever protested before?
Yes, back in the day.
In the 60s.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and how this compares to that?
There's a continuity here. The spirit of Americans who appreciate the chance to make a better society for everyone.
And how does it make you feel to see all these people out here kind of champion the same message that you have?
I feel supportive and part of the spirit of America.
And what would you say about living in America right now? What are kind of your thoughts?
It's both good and bad. There's the reactionaries are people who claim the Confederacy or embrace Russia and China. And
all right, so this is a live interview there in Greensboro. We want to go back now to Uptown. Bria Smith interviewing someone there at the rally. Let's take a listen in.
And people who are violent, and it really helps to match the absurdity of those statements when we show up and show support in silly inflatable animal costumes.
Absolutely. What does it mean for you to be here today, representing, what you're standing for?
There's so many things, mostly like freedom of speech, of like being able to gather and tell everybody like why we don't like about this administration, and pretty much that's a right. Like we are worried we're going to lose, and we're here to prove like we don't want to lose that right.
Absolutely. Now I spoke to someone else earlier who was also dressed up and kind of was wearing their message. I think that's a great way to kind of get your point across without actually speaking. So what is the importance of, like you mentioned, wearing the message that you're trying to send, and what is that message?
It's really just to show that we are together, united, and we are nonviolent, and we want to stand up for all communities in this country.
So very lastly, what do you hope that people take away from today's protest?
Just when you hear things in the news about people being violent, you need to really take a look at what is really happening.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so that is Bria Smith interviewing a couple of folks there live in Uptown as the march looks like it has wrapped up. We did get word from photojournalist Ben Green that CMPD has started to open up roads there in Uptown. So it looks like folks are starting to filter out. But just to recap, we've seen so many people, thousands of people in Uptown Charlotte alone at this No Kings 2 protest, hundreds in Waxhaw, which is in Union County. But to put this in perspective, millions across the country. And those rallies are happening, give or take different time zones and start times. But that's a live look in Uptown as, again, folks are still there lingering around as that rally appears to have wrapped up there in Uptown. And we are continuing to keep our eye on different shots and different vantage points and different scenes from across the country, from, again, Greensboro to Charlotte to Waxhaw, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Boston, all over. And thank you for tuning in here for our extensive coverage here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll have more on the news at 6.